What's going on, everybody? Pacific Sports Talk Radio here.
Hello.
Going to be talking the Super Bowl today on this fine Wednesday, another Hump Day week episode. So we're going to get right into it. Got a few things to say here. Why don't you start us off, Dean?
Okay, well, we're a little bit late. Sorry about that. But Tom got number 7, man. Tampa Bay. Not many thought he could do it, but why would we ever doubt the GOAT, right? Thorough ass beating, 31-9. It wasn't great to watch if you weren't a Tampa Bay fan, but I think it's good that Mahomes, and the Chiefs are going through a little diversity. They were getting a little high on their high horse, but
Adversity.
Yeah. So what did you think of the game, Brady?
To sum it up, man, the defensive line just pounded Mahomes all game, and they weren't able to capitalize on any of the Bucs' few mistakes. Tom Brady played a pretty good game. He didn't give any takeaways. The rushing game worked out like you talked about last week, and it was just kind of an ass-kicking. There wasn't really much that the Chiefs could have done aside from protect the quarterback more.
Yeah. I was shocked. I think that was the best game of the season I saw them run the ball. Like, Leonard Fournette, I haven't seen Leonard Fournette with that much burst since he was on the Jaguars. And not even the last year on the Jaguars. Probably the Super Bowl year. They just didn't abandon the run, but they didn't have to abandon the run because they were running it down their throats the whole game. The offensive line and the defensive line of Tampa Bay, I was watching them the whole game. They really impressed me. They dominated the line of scrimmage. And, I know people love, all the wide outs and
Dynamic.
all the flash, all the skilled positions. What do they call them? But the football still won in the trenches, man. And you saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones combined for over I think just about 150 yards, if my math is correct there. 89 and 61. My math's probably wrong. Is that 150?
80 and 69.
89 and 61.
Yeah, no, you got it right.
Okay, yeah, so 100.
Wait, no, 130.
130. Okay, yeah.
80 and 69. No, you got it right.
Okay, so
no. Yeah, you got it right.
they ran it down their throats, and they didn't really need to do too many attempts. Ronald Jones 12 attempts and Leonard Fournette 16, so they didn't really do it a ton, but when they did it, it was effective. And then it was cool to see the newcomers get the touchdowns. Obviously, we talk about Mike Evans and Godwin and Cameron Brate and all these guys that have been on the team, but it was cool to see the guys that joined the team to win a ring, like Antonio Brown, Gronkowski came out of retirement, and Fournette, who just joined them, all in hopes of winning a Super Bowl. They all made impacts in the big game, and it just shows, it just shows the winning process that is, at this point, just so shocking that Tom has been able to repeat over and over.
I felt like their entire playoff run, but especially in this game, it was just like, you could feel it, not to get too vibe about it, but Tom instilled a confidence in them. You didn't see this confident Fournette just running people over, and Antonio Brown had never made it to the Super Bowl, and he's had problems, and he made it to the Super Bowl as a rookie, but there was just this confidence. They were just dripping in confidence every player on their team. It was like a vibe, we have Tom, we're going to win this game. And a lot of the players said the night before, he texted every one of them individually that we're going to win. We got this or something, I think he said to all of them. But it just,
Yeah, you
It
said
felt
we're
like they
gonna
all
win.
had, yeah, we're gonna win. It was. They all seemed so confident. It was just crazy. You could feel it. It was wild. And the Chiefs just, I don't know, they collapsed. I was shocked. You brought it up earlier to me. Man, Kelsey dropping passes. Like, I get Pringle off of his helmet, you know. I mean, that should have been a touchdown, but, you know, when a defender gets the hand in the face, you think it's going to deflect. I mean, I get that, but you still got to catch the damn ball. There were a lot of drops and stuff. I just feel like they just didn't take Tom that seriously. They're like, this isn't, you know, even though people have done this before and, you know, like Max Kellerman, the cliff, right? But I just feel like they just didn't take it that seriously. They felt confident and young, and they were going to run and just destroy them. And I think the penalties were granted early in the game, and they let that like totally affect their gameplay and their mental state. You could see it just spread through the entire team. Like, oh, we should have had those. Like, it wasn't like that confident vet where it's like, oh, let's move on to the next one, right? It's like they were stuck on those passing interference penalties. You could see it on the offense too. They're like, oh, that was messed up. You know, how'd you feel about that?
Yeah, to hop on that last point you made, and specifically the defense. A lot of their players, obviously Tyrann Mathieu comes to mind, were just totally just rattled by anything that was not going their way. You know, obviously there were a few times where the refs, they could have made a mistake on a call. One could argue the opposite, but there were a few that you could look back and say, oh, you know, that might not have been a pass interference or that might not have been a holding. But instead of, you know, regrouping and getting back into the next play, you could just see that it totally affected their mindset, and they just weren't mentally prepared for that kind of battle. They were just, and like I said last week, when a team goes on the road and wins all these games, and regardless of how Drew Brees is right now, going into New Orleans, I know there's no fans, and that would have been a totally different situation. But going to Washington, going to Lambeau, like, these are things that just, like, they build you. They really bond the team together, and it's just really hard to take apart once it's already there.
Yeah, great points. Yeah, you know what? Did you see after they were only up, I think they were up 14-3 or something. You saw Tom over there, and he was just, like, looking down, and he was just, like, total dead eyes, like, just looking at the tablet. And then they're up 34-6 or 34-9, so all of the scoring finished by the third quarter. There was no scoring in the fourth quarter. And what was it, halfway through the third? It wasn't like that was the crappy part. The last quarter and a half. I know, I had the over, man. Dude, all I needed was 14 points. Mahomes couldn't give me that. Thanks, Mahomes. But anyways, you just saw it. You saw the determination and the confidence. When they were up 31-9, and there was it was halfway through the third, you saw, you know what it reminded me of? You saw, so he sat down and he was doing the same thing, like looking down. It reminded me of that Kobe interview where he's like, what's there to be happy about? Job's not finished. You know?
Oh, yeah, man.
It was the same vibe. He's like, job's not finished.
He's been there so many times, right? And we always talk about his 10 Super Bowls. Going into the Super Bowl, there was this story going around that one of the players, I think it was Godwin, was crying and was just in disbelief, and he was just so.
Oh, the NFC Championship.
After the NFC Championship, he was crying of happiness and joy. And Tom walks up to him, and he's like, "What are you crying for? This isn't over." Like, he has that killer mentality that's just like.
Yeah. I saw it. I totally agree. Did you have anything else?
No, it's just, you're totally right. It's reminiscent of what Kobe and MJ and the greats of other sports have been able to do.
But it's like, I don't know if Belichick overshadowed it, but it was very, like, on display. Like, you saw it. He's like, it was an extra thing. It's like, I gotta prove that it wasn't Belichick, it was me. It was like...
Oh, yeah, that was his motivation.
You didn't see, but I know you had that confidence, like the Atlanta game. Like you saw that, but it was. I don't know if they had the camera in his face more in this game. Tom Brady, they probably did. It was probably that. It's his 7th. He's going for his 7th. But he just had this grimace of just like I'm about to destroy. Like
that was totally his. That was by far one of the biggest motivators for him. And into the off season, the only thing that the news stations, the sports talks, were talking about was, who gets more credit? Was it Belichick or Brady?
What's Max Kellerman? What's the percentage? Is it Bellerman or is it Belichick
Wright,
or Brady?
All these guys, but dude,
all of them.
This Super Bowl was terrible for these sports shows because now what are they going to talk about? There's literally nothing you can say. There's no argument you can make that he's not the greatest football player of all time. Forget quarterback. Forget quarterback. He's transcended. I think even Jerry Rice at this point.
Oh no, he's the best. He has 7 rings.
It's just like
7
a
out of
winning.
10.
It's not even his play. It's just the winning that's just follows him. It's his mentality. It's his leadership. It's all the intangibles, right?
Yeah. Did you? I think it was yesterday. They showed. So he's won. Obviously, he's won a ring in 3 decades. He's the first since Tim Duncan. So in any sport. So it showed his 20s. In his 20s, he went to 3 Super Bowls and won 3. In his 30s, he went to 4 Super Bowls and he won 2. In his 40s, he's gone to 3 Super Bowls and he's wait, what is that?
4 Super Bowls in his 40s.
4 Super Bowls in his 40s. Oh, I was wrong. His 30s, he went to 3. And then so he only won 1 in his 30s. And then in his 40s, he's won 2 more.
He's beaten Falcons. Wait, 2017 was how many years ago? He's 43 right now. Oh, he must have been 39.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
So he's won 2 in his 40s, and he won 2 in his. He won 3 in his 20s. He won 2 and then 2.
It's 3-2-2. Yeah, but that's they showed his 40s match up with Montana's career, or his 40s. Or is it his 30s?
I think his last 5 seasons have just been off the charts.
It's matched up to Montana's entire career though, and then Montana was, his childhood. It's just wild.
He's figured it out at this point. He knows he doesn't do the flashiest of plays, but he knows what it takes to win. He understands how football games are won, and he knows how to do it at an effective level that no one else has ever been able to replicate.
Yeah. And actually, during the game, LeBron had a tweet that I actually think that the bigger, to get off, we got to talk about the GOAT. He got his 7th. But, man, their defensive line, to go back to the game, like, if it wasn't such a collective effort and it was one guy, then that guy probably would have won the MVP. Like, it was just like their entire defensive line. It was... The strategy was amazing. They were just able to get pressure with 4 guys. And they just went after halftime, it's like, Kansas City was on a drive, then they kicked a field goal. And then it just felt after that field goal, and you think Kansas City would come out with a different game plan or come out, more forceful with more energy. But after they kicked a field goal, I'm like, oh, this is going to get ugly. And then they just started, man, Mahomes just kept getting hit and hit and hit.
I mean, look at Ndamukong Suh had a sack and a half. That guy's been around for ages, and he just turned.
Pierre Paul.
JPP was in a Super Bowl that he actually beat Brady in 2011.
It's just ironic that everyone was like, that's always been Tom's. It's not even Achilles' heel. It's every quarterback. If you can get pressure with 4 guys.
Look at Mahomes. It's one of the greatest like talent we've ever witnessed.
Yeah.
And if you can get him on the fucking ropes and you can get him on an unbalanced ground, not even him can make plays. I mean, he made some ridiculous plays that, in my opinion, and this is kind of the next thing I wanted to get into. A couple of his passes, could have easily been some of the greatest touchdowns or just plays in general of Super Bowl history when he was. And one that comes to mind was when he was scrambling, and I think Shaq Barrett was literally taking him down, as he's going to the ground,
The Pringle one, the back corner, right?
He makes all
Pringle,
these.
and Pringle caught that.
He had
but
it. Well, there was a few. But if any of
that
those
one
plays,
was the craziest one.
that was the craziest. But if any of those nutty scramble, getting thrown to the ground, make a fucking throw on the run, if any of those, I know I swore, any of those plays ended in a touchdown, that's 7 more points. They had 9. Let's say it's 16 to 30, whatever, 34. There's all the momentum on their side, I think, because they've just made this crazy play. And then it's like, whoa, the defense might get into the mindset of like, man, we just did everything we could to stop this guy, and he's still scoring on us. And then you start to get your swagger back, right? Don't you think one of those plays could have changed the momentum?
No, it's backbreaking if one of those scores. It's like in basketball when so the shot clock's 24 seconds. You play 23 seconds of amazing defense, and then they hit a 3, and they beat the buzzer.
But it's like a step back 3 with 2 guys on you.
Yeah, but it's like that, but like exponentially bigger. Like,
totally.
Like,
it totally shoots down all of your confidence.
Football is such a game of momentum. It's just like, it's wild.
Look what happened in their first matchup. They were able to get Tyreek going early, and then he just started rolling. He got like 3 touchdowns, and he had like 175 yards in a quarter.
That was crazy.
But that's all momentum.
I know. It is momentum. After they screwed that up, and then it was their first drive, their second drive in the third quarter, and they just started crushing. It's like his offensive line gave up. His tackles, granted, they were replacements, and that was probably
they're all switched around like musical chairs.
But I was like, damn, like they're getting yards upfield, but the thing was, it wasn't just the outside guys. It wasn't like, oh, he had room to run around. Like when he moved up and run, it was like there was pressure from the inside. It's like
Ndamukong Suh, you can't say enough about the way he played.
It didn't matter the thing is, with defensive ends, you could get too far upfield. That's what happened with the Niners, because Bosa was just killing it, but the center of the line wasn't budging. It wasn't pushing him back. If you get upfield with the ends and your D tackles or your nose is just holding the line of scrimmage, he's screwed because he's walking into a wall. Like it was just I was more impressed with the inner defensive line. You're right.
And how about
the inside was just.
And how about the Tampa Bay? Like, I know a lot of people talked about it all year. Their run defense, those linebackers, man. Like, you can't really. I mean, we talk about the defensive line. And then how about right behind them, man? Those 2 linebackers are fucking studs. Those guys get the job done on a lot of different ways.
Yeah. What's their guy they drafted out of Michigan? What's his name again?
Are you talking about Levante David, or are you talking about Devin White?
Devin White. He's from Michigan, right? They drafted him number 6 or
4 or
number
5,
7.
yeah.
And he runs what does he run, like a 4.4?
He's a big guy, but he.
Oh no, he's from LSU. Sorry,
yeah, he's a big.
LSU.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think he's from the north. He's a big guy. He runs
like a 4.3 or 4.4.
But he can cut through I watched a few plays. He cuts through the blocks and he just gets behind you and he just takes.
No, the most those wheel routes to the running backs.
Yeah.
And he chased those guys down.
Man, he got to the spot. How quick did he get to the spot there?
He was lined up. He wasn't even. There was one play where he wasn't even the middle linebacker on that side. He was the middle linebacker on the other side. They threw a wheel route over here, and he ran across. He beat the pulling guard. He beat the pulling guard. He across face and hit him in the backfield. I was like,
that was like a defensive smackdown, right?
He had to run another 12 yards than the pulling offensive guard.
And I think they got him and I think he got him on a loss of 2 yards on that play.
Yeah. No, it was shades of Patrick Willis. I was like, I haven't seen a guy beat a guy that badly, because Luke Kuechly's been great, but Luke Kuechly did it too. He ran fast. But, man, that was like a Luke Kuechly, Patrick Willis play. Just totally beat the guard. Like,
Khalil Mack defensive end?
He's the end. Yeah. He was coming out at a middle linebacker, but they moved him and he gained weight. But it was just, man, that was a really impressive play. That's one of the big defensive plays that sticks out to me. By an individual. That was, yeah. And then, they just dropped 6 guys the whole game.
Like we said, just double up Tyreek, double up Kelsey, make Pringle beat you, make Hardman beat you.
They were winning at all 3 levels. They had 6 guys back in coverage, so no one was open deep. The linebackers, they couldn't do any slants or low crossing wheel routes because they were just beating the running backs to their spots. And then the line was just destroying their offensive line.
So I got a question.
Dominance.
I got a question for you here because that game, no team's ever held Patrick Mahomes to not scoring a single touchdown either on with a run or a pass.
Yeah.
No team's ever been able to do that.
Yeah.
That was the worst beatdown he's gotten in a long time.
Since Texas Tech.
So since his college days.
Yeah.
So I know we talk about how beat up his offensive line is. Do you think that there's anything there that, teams around the league are looking and going, hey, did you guys just see what just happened? Because, the Chiefs have literally reigned supreme over everyone. They've been unfucking touchable for the last almost 3 years. I know they lost in the AFC Championship game against Brady in the year that they beat the Rams, but that year they were still, as dominant as ever. Do you think teams around the league are thinking, hey, there's a formula to beat these guys if you can build off of that game?
Not to take it back to the Niners, but I will. When someone leads a question like that, like the last Super Bowl. I think that the Niners were close to doing, they were dominating their offense until the very end, right?
Yeah.
I just feel like, I don't know. I don't think the difference. I think the difference between I do think the tackles were a significant difference. I think in the fact that Tampa Bay has 2 great linebackers, the Niners only have 1, right?
Better secondary too.
So. Yeah, and they have a way better secondary. But I think if you drop back 6 guys, you should be able to guard 4 guys. You should be able to do that. You have the man. You don't need Tampa Bay had an exception, but they had way better secondary. I just think that missing the tackles broke the camel's back because their linebackers, you knew their linebackers are probably their most consistent, players on their team. And the secondary, they have help. They have 6 guys back there. So, and you already knew their rush was going to be good. But when you're your tackles are just there's a reason your left tackle or your blind side, if your quarterback's a lefty, it's your right tackle, are some of the most highly paid guys on your team. It's because they protect your most valuable commodity, your most valuable asset, your quarterback. And it was just his guards weren't doing any better, but his tackles were getting beat every play. One of them getting thrown on their backs. It was just, oh my God. And then he had to keep coming up. And the nose tackles, I do think there's a strategy. I think it's with every great quarterback, you got to get pressure with 4. In the Super Bowl, you get pressure with 4 guys. It wipes out your problems on your back end, your secondary. As long as you have 1 or 2 good linebackers and you could have pressure with 4, I think you could take out any great quarterback.
But the difference with this Super Bowl and the last is you got pressure with 4. They were able to get the same amount of pressure. Tampa Bay sacked him 3 times. The 49ers sacked him 3 times. Obviously, the pressure was coming down the middle more, like you said, and the offensive line was collapsing more. But I think the standout difference of the 2 teams is the lack of secondary. There's a lot of guys out there on the 49ers secondary that didn't really even know where they were, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. You can't get away with Sammy Watkins. I don't think Sammy Watkins had a catch for more than 10 yards in this game, and I think he had a huge 30-yard catch in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, true.
You can't. You can rely heavily on that rush, but you do need some playmakers. And with Tampa Bay, they got the linebackers and they got some really good safeties and a couple decent cornerbacks, and Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Just a fully put together defense there.
Yeah, yeah. I do. That's why I was kind of getting annoyed with Sherm, because he was talking up the secondary like it was something that was so good. Their secondary really wasn't that good, and
No.
Sherman was overpaid. Even though the Niners are our team, Sherman's overpaid. He's not worth his contract. I do think Tampa Bay, man, drafted some dogs in the secondary. I got to admit, they have some studs back there, and yeah, that was the difference too. It was just like I looked up ESPN had a stat. So by time, like to avoid getting sacked, how many yards a quarterback runs? I guess they keep that statistic.
Pat ran how many?
So this isn't past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, this
right?
is how many yards he ran.
This is Russell Wilson.
I think I saw this stat. Yeah,
the most ever in a Super Bowl, or so they didn't keep the stat back then, but since they started keeping this stat like 25 years ago or something, 467 yards of scrambling behind the line of scrimmage. 467 yards. That's him going back and forth trying to avoid getting hit. That's the most by any quarterback ever.
That was like every time he just said hike, it was like, all right, time to run like 30 yards back. He would run fucking 40 yards back a couple times.
He ran from I saw a couple plays where he ran to this sideline, and back before he threw the ball. Like a couple times. Like
it was like a whole different game, and it was hard to watch if you're a Chiefs fan.
And then I felt like they broke his back because when that rush started coming, I also thought he started seeing ghosts, and he was missing wide open guys. And I don't blame Mahomes for that, but he started seeing ghosts out there. He's getting hit so much. Like, he missed some passes that he would have gotten if he wasn't so stressed out. You could see it in his eyes. He was like, there was one, it was like in the fourth quarter, the start of the fourth quarter, he got up and he had just this giant clod of grass, dirt in his helmet. Like, he just got, like, smacked into the ground.
Well,
it was just like, he was just so done with the game.
He missed.
You saw it.
He threw the ball about 50 times. And he only hit about 26. So he was 50% completion percentage, which is not great. He had 2 interceptions, and he ended the game with a passer rating of 52, as opposed to Tom Brady on the other side with 125, where he only got sacked once. So
yeah, well, Mahomes also trying to do too much. He got sacked a couple times, like for 15-yard losses or 10 yards. You remember those? Those were like, wow. It was.
So going forward, man, is there a team? Are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a team to beat next year if they can keep? Obviously, a lot of their defense is going to be on rookie contracts still with Devin White and Carlton Davis and the safeties Winfield Jr. and a few other parts. If they can keep that defense mostly intact, is there a reason why you don't see them winning the NFC South next year without Drew Brees?
Oh, I think they're shooing to win the NFC South. I do think that Kansas City's D-line was no pressure on Tom at all. I think their defensive line is totally overrated. I think their ends are just good.
Well, they relied too heavily on the zero blitz, which is what we were talking about.
Yeah.
They have to bring in those extra guys to get pressure on the quarterback.
If you guys don't know, the zero blitz is when you blitz with 2 people in the secondary. So you're blitzing with two safeties
or corners,
and you're just blitzing. So you have 6 guys going, but then it leaves. You're blitzing with 2 guys in the secondary, and they do that because they only Chris Jones, right? Chris Jones is their really good defensive end. That guy.
Yeah.
They only have one really, really great defensive play on their defensive line. I think the other defensive end is just good because Chris Jones gets doubled a lot. But they have to zero blitz because their D line isn't that talented. Like, they're just not. They're not. They're like is how the Niners secondary was all talked up before the Super Bowl. Like, I think they have a bunch of glaring weaknesses. And they're not as good as people say. I think Chris Jones is very, very good, though. But I do think Tom's one Achilles heel is that he's not as mobile. Even though he was in great shape this year. He looked in better shape this year than last year, actually. But you got to rush him with 4 guys, and they were getting all right pressure, but not enough. You got to have some beasts on your defensive line.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that was just a good old-fashioned beatdown. It'll be interesting to see how these two teams do in the upcoming season. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on them while they are on the eastern side of things. We'll still be talking about them a little bit.
Yeah. The quarterback carousel, we don't know what the hell is going to do. I'm stoked, man. Dude, the NFL is going to get blown up with trades. This is going to be wild.
Man, that's
seven new GMs. Do you know how many people are looking like, oh, we don't have a damn quarterback?
Let's get into the whole Seahawks thing over there.
Oh, Russ?
So do you think Russell Wilson, maybe the Seahawks go, hey, there's some good opportunities here. We can their team is kind of looking a little shaky, especially on the defensive side.
Yeah.
They had a lot of struggles on the defensive end this year. That was blatantly obvious. Maybe they get a good package for us and start rebuilding for the future. What do you think about that?
If I was the Seahawks, there's no way in hell I'd trade Russell Wilson.
What if someone's offering you 5 first-rounders and a chance?
Hold on. I'm trying to see. No, I wouldn't do it.
No?
Russell Wilson's 32 years old. You're seeing Tom Brady go out there. Okay, let's not say. Okay, Tom Brady's a statistical anomaly. All right, 43. Let's say Russell Wilson has until he's done at 38. That's 6 more years. You can fix your problems in a 6-year span. You could get another Super Bowl. I wouldn't. Russ is only 32, and they're doing better protecting their bodies.
But they're not doing a very good job of protecting Russell. And if I'm Russell Wilson,
there you go.
I don't know. I don't know if I can last. I don't know if I can. My dream, and he stated it before, he wants to play till he's 45, similar to the situation that Tom's in.
Yeah.
But if you're getting sacked the most times out of any player in the league since he's been in it, I don't know if I want to be on this team because they're not protecting me. They're not doing a good enough job putting guys in front of me that are going to protect me. I might be getting injured. I might be getting cut short of my goal career. So, there's some things that the Seahawks can't control.
Russ, okay, well, you asked me what would the Seahawks do. Obviously, the Seahawks
would not want to trade him. You're
I'll
right.
ask you, okay, do you think Russ would ask to get or moved? That's the real question.
I think what happens first is, and I think you'd agree with me, Russ is going to want a say, and I think that's what we're seeing right now. He wants a say in what's going on upstairs in terms of what kind of guys are getting put on the offensive line, what kind of people are around him. I actually had a conversation with a Seahawks fan the other day, and he was like, well, Russ was had a say in getting Greg Olsen, and that didn't really work out. And yeah, you swing and miss sometimes, but
yeah, Greg Olsen was a walking IR. I have no idea why they went after him. That made no sense.
Apparently, Russell Wilson wanted him.
I know he wanted another weapon, but I just really.
That's like
he's
when
34.
That's like when the Patriots last year. When a lot of people said Tom should throw in the towel, hang the cleats. And he was like, I need help on the offensive side, and they went out and got him Mohamed Sanu. Is it kind of like that?
Yeah,
right.
That's different though. It's yeah.
I know we're on a tangent.
Tom's problem was not his offensive line; it was his skill positions.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson has skill positions galore with freaking DK.
Carson and DK and
Lockett. My God, man, Lockett, like some studs, and then. The one thing, their running backs can never seem to stay healthy. That's one problem,
Yep.
They have a problem running the ball. Would you believe that? Seahawks have a problem running the ball.
Well, I think it's because the offensive coordinator for recent years his motto has really been, let Russ cook, right? And that creates awesome plays, and it's fun to watch. But is that a sustainable way to win?
Well, actually, don't you think the last couple of years it's been... just be on the run, heavily rely on the run.
Uh,
It was not. It was not until this last year that they
no, they've
let
been
Rush off the leash.
Russell Wilson's been thrown it a lot in these past 3 years.
I mean, for a whole season, this is the last season that I remember where they've let him throw the entire season.
Well, the offensive coordinator, I forget the name. I was reading about it. I should know, and I'm going to get into his stats right now. Their motto has been "Let Russ cook," and if you know what that means. It's just let him do his thing, pass the ball, air it out, all this and that. They've strayed very far away from what brought them to the Super Bowl, which was tough defense, running the football at a high level. They haven't been able to do that in many years, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just think I think the reason where they've descended to where they are now is because they haven't wanted to invest a bunch of money in their offensive line and their running backs. Carson. Penny was a second-round pick. The dude tore his ACL twice, or an ACL and something else. Like, he's been on the PUP, the IR. When you're starting and your backup running backs are always getting hurt, and your offensive line stinks, like what do you? I get it, but you're right. They're not giving Russ any help. But I think that's why they've strayed away from running the ball.
In his first 3 seasons, and in which he was able to win a Super Bowl, right? He threw 26 touchdowns, and then 20. So that he wasn't throwing it a lot, and he was ranging around the low 3,000s of yards. Okay, then you look at 2015 on, which is his 4th season. He's pretty much hitting 4,000 yards every season and averaging 34 touchdowns a year. So he's throwing it and airing it out more, and it's exciting. But that hasn't translated into winning. That's translated into more sacks. In my opinion, it's just not sustainable.
Well, you're right. No, you're totally right. We all know what makes Russell Wilson great. Why did Kyler Murray go number 1 overall? It's the off-script scrambling.
Elusiveness.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Exactly. And if Russ were to lose that ability and he becomes... just a little bit slow. Not even a pop, just a little bit slower. It's gonna really mess up his game. If he's just a step slower, and he can't avoid as much, and from all these hits,
you're gonna see that eventually. He's not gonna be able to run. No,
at this rate, yeah. So if I were him, I want a damn offensive line. I don't want We've seen quarterbacks just get beaten up, and they're never the same. RG3, Andrew Luck, those are extreme cases, but you need to protect your quarterback.
So do you think Russell Wilson? He's been quiet for a long time about this. This has obviously been an issue for a while. It's been since he's gotten into the league. Do you think that maybe he looks around and he goes, "Oh, I'm hearing things from Deshaun Watson, and he's able to express his disinterest in what's going on around him"? Do you think maybe that might spark up, hey, people in his camp are going to start speaking up about, well, if Deshaun's doing it, why shouldn't I? I'm a Super Bowl winner. I'm an MVP candidate on a yearly basis. Do you think that has to do with it?
From the interview that you're talking about, it does seem, I was shocked to hear Russ say, he was fed up with getting hit. He basically said that in an interview. He basically called out his franchise. And it's a good correlation. It's a good point between Deshaun and Russ because, they're both coming from them. When they say that, you should really listen because they're both pros. They're not prima donnas. Everyone loves them. They're great quarterbacks. They're great guys. They're both smart. When they say that, it's pretty. They're not. It's not like some prima donna wide receiver complaining. You need to listen to them when they talk. And the Houston Texans did not listen to him. To Deshaun Watson. So, if they don't at least draft, they should draft an offensive lineman with their first pick or do something. They better show that they're listening to him. They better. Otherwise, you're right. Russ is their favorite player ever. Is there a more beloved Seahawk ever? Maybe Sean Alexander. I don't know. Sean Alexander was great. Marshawn, but come on, quarterback. Quarterback's always the most loved, I feel like.
It's hard to take over that, especially with the kind of guy he's been in the community.
Exactly. I'd be shocked if it got to that breaking point, but who knows if he's top 5 in getting sacked again this year? Maybe that might be enough.
It wouldn't happen this year because the Seahawks are probably not going to want to eat that contract. It just wouldn't make sense fiscally.
Yeah, I mean, it's really all on Russ's decision. He could just anyone could force their way out of anything these days in pro sports. Players have all the power, not all the power, a lot more power.
They have more power than they did. Yeah,
much more. Yes. So and especially your quarterback. Quarterbacks have crazy amounts of power. I don't see that. It would have to be something would have to happen like he gets sacked a bunch and then he gets hurt for the rest of the season. That would be an instance where I could see possibly them breaking there,
It'll be interesting to see how the NFC West shapes up, because I mean, from a 49ers standpoint, I know right now with Jimmy Garoppolo, there's a lot of uncertainty, right? We're not sure.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of fact of if he can play. We know he's capable of playing at a high level. It's a matter of if he can stay on the field and stay healthy, right? So the Niners could be looking for a new quarterback here. The Rams got a new quarterback.
The Rams got better. I'm stoked to see how the Rams play.
Who knows what could be going on with the Seahawks? It could be a completely different division, and from what we were expecting, it's going to be very interesting to see how these things shape up.
If the Seahawks don't make some major changes, they might be last in the division. That's how I see it. I see the Rams as the favorite. I know you got to see fit and stuff, but Stafford throwing to those weapons, he might get Marvin Jones too. Damn.
Hey, so maybe also, Russ is going, hey, the Rams are a team that have given me a lot of problems in the past, right?
Yeah.
They just got better.
Yeah.
I
know.
Maybe he's I don't know how much the glory days are getting further and further away.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to be a part of this situation right now because it's not best for my career. Russell Wilson came into the league in his second season. He won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Was it his second season or his third season? I think it was his second season.
I think second or third.
Third season. I think he won it. Oh, wait, let's see here. I'm curious now.
Yeah.
Second season he won the Super Bowl.
That's so wild. God.
So in his second season he won the Super Bowl, and in his third season he made it back, and he lost, obviously, in a heartbreaking fashion to Tom. Tom's now stopped the last two quarterbacks.
He should have 2 Super Bowl rings.
Tom's stopped the last 2 quarterbacks attempting to win 2 in a row. The last quarterback to do it was Tom. Let that sink in.
This man loves Tom Brady a lot, so you gotta be careful with the takes. He is on a hot take spree right now. I know he's trying to upset some Seahawks fans as well. I do not think Russ is on his way out, but I would like to defend some Seahawk fans. Give Marshawn Lynch the ball on the 1-yard line. I don't think it was Tom. I don't think it was Belichick. I think Pete Carroll sabotaged that team. Let's be straight there. We're not going to get into that, though. I'm not going to talk about that. That's all I want to say on the matter.
You do have to hand it, though, to the Patriots on that comeback there.
It was good. I think Marshawn should have gotten the ball, though. But we're not going into that.
I mean, I think, how many points did they score? Definitely blew the game there, but
yeah.
I'm trying to find a box score here. It's kind of hard to find things from the past. Sorry. Okay, so the Patriots scored 14 points unanswered in the fourth quarter. So, gotta hand it to them on that part. They blew a big lead there.
Yeah, I'm not trying to take it. I just think
2-score lead in the fourth quarter. They got chiefed. The Niners, it happened to us too, not in as dramatic a fashion, but we were up 2 scores.
I just think there are pivotal points. You're right. It's not the end all be all, But there were 2 pivotal plays, one in each game. Jimmy overthrowing Emmanuel Sanders, which would have been a touchdown, and that would have been it. And then them not running the ball on the 1 yard line with Marshawn Lynch. I think that would have. You're right. They won the fourth quarters and they deserved it, but those plays changed the entire game. Definitely. And they were plays that were inexcusable.
They were plays.
Emmanuel Sanders had a 5 yard gap between him and the corner. It wasn't even a tough pass. I mean, it was a bomb. Don't get me wrong.
Do you think Tom Brady would have made that? Not to.
Yes.
I think he would have probably made
Tom's
that.
Clutch. No, Tom would have made that throw. Yeah.
I think maybe even Kirk Cousins would have made that throw, and that's kind of a slight at Jimmy. I'm not saying that I want Kirk Cousins necessarily on the 49ers, but there's a lot of quarterbacks in the league that would probably make a wide open bomb. That's a part of being in the professional football league that you can make that throw.
Yes.
That's kind of a standard.
Not to get too down the Jimmy thing, I do believe that Jimmy, even that year, when he was winning and he was playing well, but he was a game manager. After he tore his ACL, I haven't seen the Jimmy of. Do you remember when the Niners got him and he won 5 in a row to end the season?
I saw
his. He beat the Seahawks?
I saw his first game. I saw his first appearance when he came in against the Giants.
Oh yeah, you were there in person, right?
Yes.
That's wild. But can you see that his mechanics? It's like he doesn't trust his body.
The way he was marching up the field in those games in that win streak to end the season, I think it was actually 7-0.
Was that much? Yeah.
It was amazing to witness. It was, the whole crowd was chanting Jimmy. Everyone wanted to see him come in, and he comes in at the end of the game, and he just drives him down the field, and it was like you were witnessing greatness. And then it just takes a step back the next year, and you're right, we haven't.
No, but he got hurt. He didn't even look bad when he started. It's after he tore his ACL. I don't know if he doesn't trust his knee. I don't know what it is. He's throwing off his back leg. He didn't do that in that run. It's like he's not confident in his body or something. I don't know what it is.
Did we get into this last episode where it's like...
Yeah, I think so.
I think we got into this last episode. Yeah,
we're not going to go into it, but he hasn't looked the same. Anyways.
Yeah.
I do think, as you were alluding to, I do think the Seahawks have to protect Russ. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves...
Big tangent there.
Big tangent. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves at the bottom of the NFC West, and they're not going to make the playoffs.
Definitely. Cardinals, Niners, and Rams are all looking to make some moves there, so it's going to be a competitive season.
Yes, sir.
We'll be keeping an eye on it the whole way.
Yeah, we will. It's going to be... I'm just stoked for the QB carousel, all the QB stuff. It's going to be wild. Man, there's going to be so many movement. It's going to be wild.
Hey, so really quickly, if you don't mind, just hopping into another sport here. Just really quickly, want to talk MLB before we close.
Okay.
I just want to get your opinion on. So they just came out with the rules that are going to be coming back. They are going to be keeping the extra innings runner on second base, and then they are going to be keeping the doubleheader 7th inning. They're getting rid of the 16-team postseason, and they are getting rid of the shortened season. And they're also the DH will not be in the NL. How do you feel about these changes here?
I love the so the NL, they're keeping the pitcher hitting?
Yes.
I love that. Pitchers who rake.
So if you get excited by the double switch and all that, what's tactical play that's going on in by the managers when you got your pitcher in there, that's still going to be a thing for at least this season.
Hasn't it always been cool that the AL's had a DH, and then in the World Series their pitchers have to hit, and it's just hilarious. Like, I've always thought that's just like, they're like, screw this. Like, it's just, I love that.
It's always funny to see, the opposing AL.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a very small thing about, I guess it slows down the game and it makes it, I think baseball purists, might hate it. They'd be like, oh, it's taken away. The pitcher shouldn't have to hit. I think it's funny. I think the pitcher should have to hit sometimes. They're baseball players. Come on. You got to pick up the lumber. Come on.
Yeah, definitely. And then, what are your thoughts on the two biggest things, or not two biggest things, that's a big thing, but the other two big things. So the 7-inning double header. So it's essentially little league innings being played here. But the players are going to get to go home earlier. They're going to play 14 instead of 18.
Yeah, I don't like that. You know what? Some people want to speed up baseball, and I get you have to speed up baseball because people's attention spans are in the gutter with how much we're on social media and we're looking at screens all day, especially now during COVID. But it's just like, when you go to the games, I don't want it to be shorter. When I'm in the outfield, we're drinking with some friends and it's a hot, beautiful day. I remember going to a Reds doubleheader with my little brother, and it was just a great day. We were there from 10 a.m. to freaking 6 or 7 p.m. The Giants split. It was a great time, and it's a whole day thing. I feel like they're just trying to speed up games. I get it for TV purposes. It's not for people that are actually at the games,
No.
Except for the players, maybe some players want to speed it up, but it's like they're getting paid to play baseball.
They're claiming
baseball is just like
they're claiming it's the MLB Players Association and I think some other disease control thing that it's going to be, limiting the amount of exposure players are giving to each other with the whole COVID thing. But it's like these guys are still playing a 3-hour game.
I know, they're saving 45 minutes. Whoa.
They're still going to expose each other in those 3 hours. And then what do you think of the extra innings runner on second? Yeah. I have mixed feelings about it.
So I hate those other two. I mean, I'm glad they didn't switch the pitcher hitting in the NL, and I hate that rule that we just talked about, shortening the innings in a doubleheader. This one, I'm a little bit on the fence about. I sometimes, man, teams getting blown up because they play an 18-game extra inning and they lose their pitching staff and the third baseman is pitching in their next series is a little messed up. I do think extra inning. The thing is, I'm split because in the playoffs, I don't want extra innings.
They don't have it in playoffs.
They don't?
No.
Oh, yeah, then screw it. I don't mind that.
The only thing is, it's like, you might argue, you're right.
The ERA? The pitcher, how does that work, by the way?
I don't know how it affects.
Because the runner's already on, so no one actually is credited with that hit.
I think getting a runner on second base is a hard thing to do.
It is.
And
I agree.
Hitting a bloop single, a broken bat, dirt grounder, and winning the game on a janky play because you got a guy on second. It's hard to get a guy on second base in the professional league of baseball. It's a very difficult thing to do. And if it's just handed to you, I don't know.
You talked me into it. I definitely, I don't think it's as egregious as the other two, but I get it. You're right. I do. I don't like how they're changing up baseball so much. It's just like, you either like it or you don't.
It's not. It's not like that's gonna really draw in people. Like, oh,
no, it's not. No,
at that point, they might as well start doing a home run derby as like a shootout.
Well, yeah. What I don't get
is that's what Turner, the ex or maybe the third baseman. I don't know if he's gonna resign the Dodgers.
Oh, Justin Turner.
Justin Turner said that we should do a home run derby. I thought that was pretty savage.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That guy's also a savage for not wearing a mask during that. That World Series photo.
Given the whole team COVID.
Yeah. But yeah, I just, you're gonna like baseball or you're not gonna like baseball. Switching those little rules are not gonna get people wanting to watch baseball.
No.
Like baseball, it's like it's like golf. Like it's you gotta like spend time watching it. It's not some like it's. There are only a couple instances where it's like, heart-wrenching, like beating. Like, it's not supposed to be fast-paced like baseball and football. It's just not.
That's definitely a larger build-up. It's build-up based. And the intense moments, they only feel intense if you've witnessed
the rest of the game.
The rest of the game. And then it'll make those moments, like the ninth inning, bases loaded, 2 outs, you're down by a run. It'll make that more exciting. But you got to be there, and you got to have the attention span.
You've had more invested into the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think the speeding up baseball is stupid. I mean,
what about the pitch clock count? I'm okay with that.
So, what are the?
I think
What's
it's
the?
48 seconds or something like that. Some odd number under a
They
minute.
can't just sit there and ice you out, just like.
They're not. They don't. Yeah, they don't. They're trying to not encourage, icing you out and walking around the mountain spitting out your
Yeah,
sunflower seeds.
I do. I don't know though. So, is that in the playoffs when you're like in a pressured situation and you're trying to take a second to like chill and just like gather your thoughts?
I mean, I that shouldn't take too long, right?
That's true. Yeah. No, I like the clock. I do think pitchers definitely, they do anything to get an advantage. So they'll try and ice a batter out. And I don't like that. That's kind of whack. You're just sitting there, just having a staring contest. Yeah, we all want to watch this staring contest going on right now. Like, I agree with you. I like the clock.
Let me see. I'm actually kind of curious if that's still going on.
I don't know if they were bringing it back. That's why I was like a little bit.
Yeah. MLB announces 20-second pitch clock for spring training games.
Oh, so they're testing it out then, probably.
Yeah.
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 20-second. Wow, that's pretty quick.
How long is the pitch clock in baseball? So we'll see. I don't know if that's coming back actually, but yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, they're trying different things out.
Yeah. I just, you either like baseball or you don't. I just think they're trying to, succumb to the social media pressures. It's like you either like baseball or you don't, Like, stop messing with baseball,
Definitely agree with you there, Dean.
Should have that slogan on a shirt.
Don't mess with
Stop
baseball.
messing with baseball. Yeah. Stop changing baseball.
So, we actually were able to get 57 minutes here.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm pretty good with what we said. If there's anything else you want to comment on.
No, I'm stoked to see all the movement, with the quarterbacks and the trading in the NFL, and I want to go to some baseball games this summer, so hopefully that happens.
And we'll definitely be getting back to our NBA analysis. That'll probably be the main thing we do once baseball starts. So keep an eye on that, and then we'll also be bringing in a couple hockey guys. You guys met David last episode, and then also Ethan.
Our hockey crew will be hopefully once a week with you guys. So
once we get that rolling, that'll be sweet.
Yes, sir.
All right, Dean. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks. Good show, man.
Good time, man. All right.